Greetings. Well, this is exciting. We are having our second scholarship online panel as we are getting closer and closer to Confab 2025, which is going to be in Huntsville, Alabama. And as we get closer to it, we are using each of these online events as opportunities to be able to introduce some of the components that we're going to have at that confab. I always find confab fascinating. I don't know if you know this, but confab is actually a word. I always thought it was made up. I mean, all words are made up, but confab, the word confab, if you look up in a dictionary, means small, intimate discussion. And so confab is a 1 or 2 day, Huntsville is going to be a 2-day event. And so if you haven't yet, please add it to your calendar, mark it on what you're going to be doing, and come and join us there. As it gets closer, one of the things that we definitely think about is the scholarship. And so the Dianne Komminsk Scholarship is something that we've been doing at MSA each year for a number of years now. And I'm so glad I'm not a juror. I've been a juror one time, and oh, that was tough because all the students and people that are applying, there's such fascinating work. And here today, we have 3 of the 6 scholarship recipients for 2025 to share a little bit about their work. We also have Biz Kronfield. Elizabeth has been the chair for the scholarship committee. So we'll be having a conversation with them in just a second. Before then, I want to encourage and remind everybody that as Confab gets closer, one of the other components of the event are exhibitions. And so the online component that we do right now is also advertised. And so I encourage everyone to apply for the indoor exhibition. The applications are due August 31st. It's coming up soon. And Isaac Duncan, who is our keynote speaker for this year's confab, is also the juror for that show. And so check it out. Make sure your submissions are in. Make him work for that honorarium. And so give him as many people to look at and artworks to choose from. So that way we can see all of that art at the exhibition at Confab in October. So with that said, I'm going to take a minute and read through the bios for the introduction for these amazing people that we'll hear from today. So starting with Biz Kronfield, Elizabeth is director of the School of Art and School for American Crafts at Rochester Institute of Technology. She holds a BFA from Bowling Green State University and an MFA from the University of Georgia. A member of the MSA Board of Directors, thank you so much for your service, Biz. So a member of the Board of Directors, she chairs this scholarship committee. Her studio practice focuses on iron, stone, and often combined with other ranges of materials. So thank you so much for being with us today, for chairing this committee, as well as for helping us with this interview.
Thank you.
And for our 3, if you haven't watched the part 1, so we had 3 people, the other 3 scholarship recipients, they did this exact same thing a couple weeks ago. That is on YouTube channel. And so I encourage you all to watch and go back in our feed. But today we have 3 people joining us to talk about their work. So we have Holly Kranker, Nina Rastgar, help me again.
Nina Rastgar.
Rastgar. Thank you. I'm going to edit that out. Nina Rastgar and Rory Randle. So thank you all. So their bios read, Holly recently earned her MFA in sculpture and experimental media from the University of Arkansas, where she was supported by a Fulbright College fellowship. And before graduate school, she managed the Artist in Residence program at the Bemis Center for Contemporary Arts and worked as a studio manager for the glass sculptor Thurman Stanton. She has exhibited nationally, received multiple fellowships and awards, and has participated in residencies across the U.S. Holly, thank you so much for being here, and congratulations.
Thank you.
And Nina Rastgar. Nina is an artist and educator working across craft, performance, sculpture, and installation. Raised in Gilan province in Iran, they bring a lived experience as a farmer and an artisan into their interdisciplinary practice. They earned an MFA from the University of South Carolina, where they were a presidential fellow, and are currently pursuing a PhD in media design innovation at Toronto Metropolitan University. Their work explores eco-social, cultural, and material connections. Nina, thank you so much for joining today, and congratulations.
Of course, thank you.
And wrapping it up, Rory Christine Randle. Rory is a Southern contemporary artist from Olive Branch, Mississippi, and an MFA candidate at the University of Arkansas. Her work combines traditional sculpture with digital processes and printmaking. Drawing inspiration from Gothic media, Victorian architecture, and Southern culture through narrative-based works, she explores themes of gender, generational trauma, and grief from an African-American perspective. Rory, thank you so much for joining us and congratulations.
Thank you so much for having me.
This is going to be a wonderful conversation. And you'll notice that in this conversation, we aren't showing images. So we're not going to try to take anything away from the panel presentation that they're going to be giving at Confab Live, as well as the exhibition that's going to be at that. But we wanted to share a little bit about their work as far as like what it is that they think about in their studio practice. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Biz.
All right. Well, first off, I just want to say congratulations so much. So many congratulations. It was an amazing pool of entries. So congratulations, Rory, Holly, and Nina. And also congratulations to all of the scholarship winners from a couple weeks ago on the live feed. So also, thank you to all of the people that nominated everybody, all the students. We had 27 amazing nominations, and the poor jurors had to whittle it down to 6 winners. So it was a great pool of some fabulous work. So I'm going to ask you some questions, and whoever wants to answer can just jump in first, or else I'll call on you if I feel like we need a moment to just kind of lead the discussion a little bit. But first question is, what inspired you to pursue sculpture, and how has that journey evolved and changed throughout the time when you first made the decision to now? I'm trying to decide who looks ready.
I'll jump in.
Okay.
I'll try not to be too long-winded. It's been a long journey for me. I think that I come from a long line of makers, crafts folks, builders. My grandparents were farmers, so I feel like I was always around a lot of labor, a lot of making, in a very kind of like pragmatic sense, in the way of like utilitarian or like out of need. And so I think it was like inherently we were always busy. I was always involved in doing something growing up. And I actually pursued a BFA in commercial art about 20 years ago. And so what that looked like was like a lot of illustration and design, graphic design, early graphic design, excuse me. And I think for me, it was sort of a decision that felt very safe, right? Because I was like, I don't know about art. I like art. I know these things are really important to me, but I don't know what that means in having a career. And so I pursued what I felt was like maybe a safe bet at that time in my life. And it was a joyful, wonderful experience in my undergrad. My senior year, I decided I wanted to get an interior design minor. I think because I was so always much invested and like intrigued by interior spaces, the ergonomics of space, like how our bodies respond to spaces and like installations. And so for me, it also felt like, oh, very pragmatic. This makes sense. This is like a tangible thing. Like if I need to pursue a career in this, I have some really solid building blocks to start with. And while it wasn't super risky, it was also an incredible like base for me to have an opportunity to learn this wide range of like skill sets that later helped me in my next move, which was working for Thurman Statham, who's a glass sculptor in Omaha. And everything that I kind of pulled from my undergrad experience really helped and supported that studio process. And so for me, that time and being part of his studio and managing that was a real wide, eye-opening experience. I was fresh out of undergrad going into the art world and dealing with galleries and museums and clients and exhibitions and learning how to ship artwork. It was like grad school in a different way. And for me, it really set up me not only to understand sort of like the business and the functionality of like how a studio could work, it also gave me an opportunity to work 3-dimensionally. And so his work is very grand in scale. It's very labor intensive. It's massive. It's glass. It was everything like I didn't know. And so for me, it was like taking a risk in myself and to try this opportunity and work for him. And so it opened so many doors for me in making in my own studio practice and in building this confidence and an understanding of how much I loved to build sculpturally and make. And so from that kind of point on, I really worked 3-dimensionally in a variety of materials and mediums and different things. And my career sort of took another path in working for an artist in residence program. And for me, that was like also an incredible moment and element in building this whole sort of life I was making for myself and understanding how I can give back to artists and communities and providing opportunities for artists and working in arts nonprofits and administration. And so it's sort of all kind of like snowballed into this amazing sort of thing that was happening in my life, all the while still making work. There was a moment in my time, and I think like kind of post-COVID, thinking about what I want to do next, and applying to grad school had already kind of been in the back of my mind, and thinking about really having dedicated time and space to really work and like hunker down and really like sink my teeth into making work just for myself. And understanding like what am I doing? What am I talking about? Why am I choosing materials that I'm choosing? Like what skills do I want to learn? And I applied to the University of Arkansas and was accepted. And it was sort of a moment to like, okay, this is a decision I'm making to invest in myself. And one of the best decisions I've ever made. I've learned so much in that time, so many different skills, technical skills, and just an incredible resource. And it was sort of like being a kid in the candy store again, and like this buffet of like, okay, you're a sculpture, but that means do whatever you want, which was sort of like mind blowing. Obviously, at the time, I had never had resources like that. Never really had that time or the opportunity to work really closely with faculty in that way and really invest. And so here I am, like coming out of that program with like this whole amazing suitcase full of skills that I'm just like excited for the next thing. And I think, yeah, it sort of started early on, but it was a moment for me to, I don't know, think about sculpture as like always kind of been there. It's always kind of been present and working three-dimensionally and thinking about objects and our relationships to them, and how we experience these things in a very like visceral, embodied way. So long-winded answer.
I love it though. It's so interesting how you've been in so many different aspects, right? You've been in the educational system, you've been in the residency system,
Yeah.
and working with the studio artist for a very successful studio. I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
it's really interesting.
it's a blessing. I mean, honestly, I've been so blessed to just be present in a right time, right place sort of moment. I mean, there's some luck to that, but there's also like, you know, real decisions made about like when you make a choice. And I think that trusting your gut, right? The intuition, that instinct of knowing like what path is ahead of you.
Thank you. Rory, are you ready to answer that one?
Okay, so I think I was always a creative. I was a writer. I would like write and tell my stories to my second grade class, and it was always like a thing every week. I got to high school and I mostly did 2D art in high school. So watercolor, color pencils. We had a kiln, but we didn't really use it. And it wasn't until I got to college that I really started to like develop skills three-dimensionally. So my foundations year was kind of rough for me because I didn't know what media made me happy. Like I was in my drawing classes and my 2D design classes, and I was learning my fundamentals, but I hadn't had that moment yet where I had a medium in my hand and I just knew that I liked it. So I was about to switch my major, like just give up and everything, but I took 3D design with Stacey Rather, who was our host last week, and everything just aligned. Everything made sense. It was just like, okay, this is what I've been looking for. This is what I'm supposed to be doing in my life. So I built my skills from there and, you know, integrating things like printmaking, but just three-dimensional working with my hands is such an intimate experience with my work. And it's the best thing that ever happened to me, that 3D design class.
Hey, Rory, can I ask you a follow-up question with that?
Yeah, of
What
course.
was the material? Was it the materiality or was it just working in space?
I think it was just working in space, but I do love working in wood as well because that was our first two projects, and I'm like, this is so fun. I love putting on my safety glasses and my earbuds. It was just great.
That's awesome. Thank you. Nina, I know you had some connection problems. Do you need the question repeated or do you
Oh,
remember?
no, I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. I was in the first of the conversation. So, and then disrupt. Thank you for your question. So, I was thinking about, I can start with my first connection with the sculpture, was both personal and social. I think it has, I think, social and personal connection and dimension. So I grew up in a region with where most people in the history were artisan and farmers. So making with the hand and was part of the daily basis of life, and I was watching them. And I think craft in general and design specific, it's pretty natural to me, and but also a form of resistance, I think. So that was my first connection with a sculpture, because every pattern or sort of a structure carries some history and meaning. So, and a kind of labor resistance in my region, that sort of they help fight back with authority or something like, power. So what I love about the sculpture is that it's 3D dimensional. I can go around it, and I can see all the perspective. And it never fixed like me, and then that matches how I think and experience at the same time. Um, and and also I think it's personal. Growing up um, under fascist government, I think I often felt like my body as a citizen was invisible. So sculpture gave me another kind of body that I felt like I felt like I become more visible in a way, because my sculpture takes up space, and so invited people to interconnect and sort of question, and so when I see people engaging with my work, or kind of sculptures, it feels like a citizen for me that I haven't had a chance to get get in that many places. And then yeah, so by extension myself, finally I think I have a place to be in the world. So yeah, I feel like that things inspired me to do sculpture.
Thank you. All right, next question is, can you share what receiving the scholarship has meant to you, both personally and professionally, like as your career evolves?
I'll go first. So I feel like I only started to get my feet on the ground in sculpture my junior year. So receiving the scholarship really kind of felt like me getting my feet wet and really starting to immerse myself in the sculpture community. I've met so many people that are part of the MSA, community, and it's just so amazing. And I'm so excited to be a part of it. And there's also like a personal, like selfish, like validation that I kind of get from it. And it's nice to feel like you have direction and something's going right. So I really felt that in receiving the scholarship, and I was really grateful for it.
Fabulous. Anybody else want to tackle that one?
Yeah, I mean, I'll chime in as well. I think that it's truly an honor. Honestly, it's like I'm so grateful to the panelists that we had, Mary and like Albert, to be able to like review, and the committee members for providing an opportunity like this. I mean, It's really special. I'm so grateful for being selected. I'm excited about the mentorship that comes with this also, which is like not always associated with an award. Sometimes it's like a cash prize, or maybe you get a show, but it's like that extra kind of care. I think that's like really important, and I just want to acknowledge like it's really amazing. I'm really grateful for that, and I applaud the committee for thinking so holistically about that. And for me, yeah, I think it's kind of similar to Rory. It's like a moment of like, okay, I think I'm doing the right thing. This feels right. And for me too, like coming out of this program and like kind of this first moment of stepping out post-graduation, where all this work has sort of like been brewing and coalescing and coming together. It feels like a very like micro macro moment of like, okay, like this work is going to now be out in the world because of this opportunity. And I couldn't be more thrilled, and I'm super grateful. And it does feel like an opportunity to really build on this momentum now. I think it's like a little bit of that affirmation and like confidence also of like, okay, like this is happening. And yeah, I'm just really, really grateful that it's happening and discovering what's next.
Excellent. Nina?
Yes, thank you for your question. I think professionally, I think a scholarship help build appreciation and recognition for artists, because I felt like, I mean, when I got the email from the MSA, the actually the email motivates me to work harder, and they and in general, because I've got 2 times in the last year, I felt like it allows me to see sort of myself on a more professional stage. Um, they also create community, because but because when one of us supported it, it covers in the larger networks of artists and students, and that's great. Thank you, I'm so grateful for that. And personally, receiving the scholarship feels like a form of resistance to me again, um, because I'm international student slash artist. I face many restrictions, sometimes limitations, so on how I present myself. So I sometimes I panic, and then so having this support makes a huge difference. And I'm very grateful for it. So, and also it's symbolic. I think I wouldn't let my hands, become clean of dirt. So this scholarship is an appreciation of both my hand and mind. So and labor goes into the making art. Yeah, thank you.
I love that answer. And I think it is reminding me to make sure everybody knows that you're all going to be presenting about your work during Confab. And I'm very excited to be able to see your slideshows and be able to learn a little bit more of your insight of why you make and how you make. And yeah.
Thank you. I'm excited too. Thank you.
And also, Nina, you mentioned something about community, and that's the next question a little bit is, do you have any advice for other emerging artists, other students, or other people just graduated, like, you found this community, and hopefully it gets bigger and bigger and through MSA, but other avenues of finding community and what that can do for you as an individual artist?
So, for me, I dedicate 1 or 2 days a week just to searching for calls and reading opportunity, especially craft schools, so like Penland, and those who are supporting community and supporting the queer community and all minorities, and it's pretty intimate, I think. And then so learning what's out there, that's my plan every week. I'm planning. And as a student slash artist, I think that's one of the most practical way we can approach. We can keep going to find spaces, safe spaces, and where our work can resist, where it can be seen, for example, or where we can appreciate others as well as ourselves. I mean, it's that makes community, right? And I think, yeah, I love to just searching for calls and, those criteria that I'm looking for, making not just exhibition, just know, but I like to know people around and talk with them also.
Rory, do you want to take this one? Because I believe it was before we went live, we were just talking about, you were talking about being someplace new. Like how is community in that transition?
My community has been amazing. Like even in these 2 weeks, we've really grown close. And I do think that the second year grads and the third year grads have kind of just taken us under their wings. But even the undergrad students, I mean, we had kind of a scary situation on campus earlier this week, and the undergrads were coming and telling us like, hey, if you need a place to go, if you need a ride off campus, anything like that, it's really tight knit and everybody takes good care of each other no matter what, which I really appreciate.
Thank you. Hallie?
Yeah, I think that as artists are navigating opportunities and calls and community, I think one thing I learned, as a young artist is like go to everything. And even if it feels a little scary or it feels like a little maybe not what you're studying or something, I think like it's really important that you cultivate those curiosities, right? Stay curious, stay passionate in your interest. I think those ebb and flow, and fundamentally, human nature, our interests are vast and varied, and I think it's very important that you stay true and honest to those things that are really important to you. And the world is small in a beautiful way, and the art world even smaller. And I think when you are present for yourself and out and going to like whether it's openings or talks or lectures, that you're present, but you're also like meeting folks that you'll pass again in life and you'll see them again. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things that I've learned over the years is that yeah, you come back around and you're constantly in orbit with other people and seeing them and meeting them. Or if someone hears about a call that's like, or an exhibition that's like really, in line with your work, that you'll hear from them. And I think that's just such a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I think it's important when you are making decisions to apply to opportunities or calls that you're really applying to things that are fitting for your work. I think that it can be a little overwhelming. And I love Nina's like point of like research every week and make a list of things that are like really fitting for you or a place that you want to go maybe do a residency. Because it is an investment. It's an investment of your time to apply. And a lot of those opportunities are, tethered to like a financial application fee. And so making sure that something really aligns with you, your work, and your passions is really important. Um, yeah, and I think all of those things just build on each other, and like all of those experiences just continually build. And yeah, things have a way of really working out. So trust your gut. I think that's trust your instinct, trust your gut.
Love it. We can also take questions from anybody that happens to be watching. So if you have a question for any of our three panelists, please feel free to put that forward. And while we're waiting on that, I want to ask you all, how long have you known about MSA? How did you find out about MSA and the scholarship in general?
I can take a stab at that one. How did I learn? I think the first semester, Bethany Springer, who was my professor in sculpture at UArk, told me right about it. Like, hey, this is an opportunity, apply. So I've applied a few times. And I think that kind of goes back to like applying to things, like embracing failure. Like you didn't get it, apply again. Panels are constantly rotating. The more you put your work out in front of people, the better. Like it's only positive when you're applying to things. And so yeah, Bethany, my like faculty told me about the program, told me about the conference, told me about the scholarship. I've yet to go, so I'm so excited to go to Confab this year. Um, Thrilled. It's like a nice like moment to like full circle, but yeah, it was directly from Bethany, and I think really important too of like being in a new community, like being in a different region for me was like really, eye-opening and like new experiences and seeing what work was coming out of the South, and like it's just so fascinating to see the fabulous things that are being made and by the students that are all in this region. It's amazing.
Rory?
So I think I first learned about MSA with Letitia. She was actually a visiting artist at Ole Miss in 2023, I believe. And from there, my junior year, I decided to go to the conference. And I thought that was probably one of the best career decisions I ever made because while I was there, I was able to do a lot of networking. And every grad program that I applied to, I, went up to those professors and I introduced myself and spoke about them to their program. And I think that was very beneficial for me when I was going through my grad application process. So I guess if any students are watching, go network, go talk to people. You never know who you're going to meet. And it was life changing for me, honestly.
Absolutely. Nina?
Yes, thank you. So I first heard about MSA from my professor first semester when I got to America. So it was 2022, and then my first class, I took a three-dimensional sculpture with her, and she was talking about MSA. And then, so last year, before my thesis, she invited me and supported me again. And then Professor Naomi Falk. And then first time I got involved to community, and I was so excited, and I was thinking about my thesis. So just imagine how much help I've got. I mean, it was completely beneficial for me because I was learning, I was practicing in my mind and building my new idea. And so I admire my professor, Naomi Fox. She always support me. And later, after she invited me, I had my performance piece, Tax Months, was selected for memontary signals, if I'm pronouncing correctly, and MSA exhibition. So in partnership with the Sloss Museum in Birmingham. So that was actually during the 2024 MSA conference, and so I met many people. They mentored me, and I, talk about my future plan, and they talked to me for a couple of hours. I was just getting around with those who were making really amazing work, and it was really good experience and opportunity. I think that was my first experience.
Thank you all so much. I'm not sure we have any other questions coming in from anybody online, but I would love for you each to just give us a little teaser for your presentation, like maybe a title or a material or like some little, just tiny little teaser for us to come back and see you present during Confab.
I'll go first. I'm gonna go first. So I'm gonna talk about more identity, and art as a form of interaction with society. I really curious about. I'm curious about society. I care about people, And so I think I'm gonna talk about that juicy stuff. And also, yeah, I think that could be my that could be my tease. Yeah, sure.
I'll give an even smaller one. I'll do a two-word teaser. Southern Gothic.
Amazing, amazing. I think I'm gonna circle back to my thesis exhibition, which feels very raw and real and recent. And so a lot of that work was dealing with these ideas around loss and care and the life cycle of an object and how those really resonate and relate back to our own bodies. And materials are between bronze and glass and ceramics. There's like a lot of things happening in there. So just come on down to Confab. We'll talk about it.
Thank you all so very much. I'm so excited to see more about your work and more about your practice. So thank you so much for joining us.
Of course. Thank you for having us.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Letitia.
Hi there, you all are amazing. Thank you so much for your stories. And Biz, I love the teaser question at the end. You know, bring that back around, and Holly, that like come on down, like that final little add in. And so absolutely come on down, add it to your calendars if you haven't already. Look forward to seeing everyone in Huntsville on October 3rd and 4th. And just one more reminder, the applications, the submissions for the indoor exhibition juried by Isaac Duncan conclude in just a couple of days on August 31st. So please get those submissions in. Look forward to seeing you all in Alabama. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody. Thanks.
And I think I did it. Nice. Yay!
You all did amazing.